The European Union has played a leading role in the international efforts to bring about recovery and build resilience in the Central African Republic. In this context, we took the initiative in July 2014 to establish the first European Union Trust Fund called Bekou, which means hope in Sango, the language spoken by most people in the Central African Republic. EU member states and international partners are, of course, welcome to join us in the Bekou Fund. The road to resilience and development in Central African Republic is still long, and we need everybody to amplify the solidarity efforts toward its people. Indeed, the country needs our support to achieve stability within its borders and in the whole region.
Over the past 2 years, the Central African Republic has suffered an acute humanitarian crisis with devastating consequences. More than half of the country's population remains in need of humanitarian assistance. We have a collective responsibility to respond to these needs, to make sure that this crisis does not become a forgotten one. Humanitarian assistance alone cannot replace a long-term political solution. We must also ensure a transition from emergency assistance to recovery and sustainable development. Thanks to the Bekou Trust Fund, the European Union is helping the Central African Republic in its transition from emergency aid to resilience. It is EU solidarity in action.
It is critical that we maintain a high level of humanitarian action and commitment by both organizations on the front lines in the Central African Republic and donors across the world at this crucial time. Last year, we saw a huge increase in humanitarian needs in the CAR, and the international humanitarian community came together and activated our highest level of emergency response, the so-called L3, surge of human and material resources, which continued until earlier this month. Protecting civilians remain extremely challenging, and women and children are particularly exposed to violence and abuse as they are trapped between the various armed groups. And humanitarian partners on the ground are doing everything they can to help. But the reality is that the needs are far exceeding the resources available. Our partners report that operations are shutting down due to lack of funding. And if this continues, we could lose the security, political, and humanitarian gains of the past year.
L'Union européenne a toujours été aux côtés de la République centrafricaine. Dès les premières heures de cette crise, l'Union européenne n'a pas manqué d'être à nos côtés pour apporter les appuis nécessaires en termes humanitaires, en termes sécuritaires et en termes de développement. Il nous a fallu continuer à solliciter davantage la communauté internationale parce que les appuis apportés n'étaient pas suffisants pour faire face aux nombreux besoins de la République centrafricaine et de sa population. Nous avons beaucoup de personnes réfugiées à l'intérieur de la République centrafricaine, beaucoup de personnes déplacées dans les pays voisins. Ces personnes veulent rentrer en République centrafricaine. Nous n'avons pas les moyens de leur donner le kit nécessaire pour se réinstaller. Nous n'avons pas les moyens de leur reconstruire leurs maisons détruites. Nous n'avons pas les moyens de leur redonner les moyens minimums d'existence pour leur dignité.
Thank you.
Thank you.